investment that you will ever make in your life. In today's Facebook Live, today's session, I want to share with you why I strongly believe that self-care is not a luxury, it's not an indulgence, and it's certainly not something that we can ignore. We do that only at our own peril, but it's a necessity, right? Especially for women. But honestly, it's the same for everyone. It doesn't matter what gender, caste, religion you are. It is a necessity, right? It's always been. So if you like what I have to say today, make sure that you sign up for the 7-day self-care challenge that I have coming up on the 22nd of February. I have shared the link right below. Make sure that you sign up using the link. It's starting on 22nd of February, which is next Monday. So you'll receive a series of emails with one actionable step each day. So I often hear this, or at least I get a feeling that many people, especially women, have this notion, and it's not something that we may be consciously believing, but honestly, it's something that it's in our upbringing, it's in the messages that we receive from society, but from popular media, which makes us believe that self-care is indulgence, it is luxury. And only when we have time, only when we have money or certain resources that we should be doing this from time to time, and that it will take a lot of time. That means it is time consuming. And I'm here to tell you today that's simply not true, right? But before I go any further, let me share with you a story. This is where my lessons was in terms of why self-care was so important, and I learned this the hard way. When my daughter was about 7 years old, she was hospitalized with a life-threatening infection, and there were a whole host of issues that she was going through. Indeed, it was a very dark point in our lives, and I, being the primary caregiver, had to take care of her. So those were extremely difficult days. But even after that, so the lessons that I learned, and especially after that, was that this was going to be for the long haul, and recovery would take time. And I learned really soon that if I did not take out the time to take care of my own health, I simply could not be there for her the way she needed me to at that time. And that brings me to something that you will hear, and I'm sure when you're traveling by a plane, when you're taking a flight, you tend to hear it, but you may not be paying much attention because it sort of becomes something that you hear all the time. And that is that there is an announcement which is made, right, before as the flight is about to take off, and that is that put on your mask first before putting it on your child or putting it on others or helping others, right? And there's a reason why, because if you're not wearing the mask first, you're not getting that oxygen that you desperately need. You can't think straight, you can't help anyone, right? Your health suffers, and of course you cannot be there and help and support your child or anyone else for that matter. And that's an extremely important message and announcement that is made as the flights take off. And that holds equally true in our lives, right? If you're not putting on your mask first, and it's something that you need to do every day, even if it's for 5 minutes a day, right? There are times in your life that you might be going through a major crisis and there's an emergency, which is what I went through. And honestly, at that time, I could not think about anything or anybody else apart from my daughter. But that's usually not the majority of our lives, right? It's not what you will be going through every single day. So every day you can find ways to incorporate self-care in as little as 5 minutes. It does not need to be time consuming, because it is not about going to the spa, it's not about getting a massage done, and it's not just about lighting candles and etc., which can take an hour and a half. It's not about that. It's about connecting with yourself, it's about connecting with your body, it's about paying attention to what you need from yourself, right? That's what self-care is about, whether it's in the physical realm, whether it's in the emotional realm. It's what you need to give yourself. It's whether it's a soothing touch, and that's why it comes in different forms, right? That's the beauty of self-care. There's not one right way of doing this. So find ways of incorporating in any form of self-care. And I'll give you some examples in a while, in your daily routine, right? And the point I want to make here is this, that if you find that something resonates with you, so for example, a big part of my self-care routine is going to bed on time. It's about reading a book every day. I love reading. That's my way of de-stressing and also sort of being on top of my work, etc. But I'm an avid reader. It will be completely different for you. For me, it is about having a morning routine, having some kind of evening and night routine, so which means that I'll have a cup of maybe herbal tea before I go to sleep. It can be anything, right? It can be a little bit different for you. But the point is that I make sure that I'm trying and doing something which is simple, which I can make it into a habit. Now it's become a habit, right? But if you're trying to incorporate something which is new, start with something that works for you, that is simple and that you enjoy, more importantly. So if you do not enjoy herbal tea, do not start with that. Start with something else. Start with reading a book. Start with spending some time with your child, right? Start with reading a book, listening to your favorite piece of music. So you can start with whatever you want. But the point is to find something that works for you, that resonates with you, that you enjoy, and slowly make it into a habit, and something that you can incorporate in your daily routine. So it doesn't have to be time consuming, right? That's something that I'm here to tell you, that self-care need not be time consuming. So it really does not matter how important you are, because at the end of the day, you are as important as anybody else in your life, right? And this is something, again, that I often joke with my clients, coaching clients, is that unfortunately for most women, and I work with women on a one-on-one basis, on a private clients, I also do group coaching programs, and the number one thing that I see by and large is that women tend to put themselves far down the list, down their own list, right? So that means that you will have your family members. If you have a child, then your child will be on the top of the list. Then you will have your loved ones, maybe your husband, and a lot of other things, even including your pets, on the top of your list. And you yourself will be one of the last ones, right, on that same list, on the list of things to do and self-care. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. The thing is that you need to give yourself permission, right? And if you are, if you've never really given yourself permission to take out time for yourself, then I am here to do that for you, right? So I'm here to give you permission today to take out some time, reflect on what does self-care look for you, right? I'm here to give you permission to start incorporating some kind of self-care practice into your daily routine. So let me give you some examples of what I mean by self-care. It means moving your body every single day, right? It does not have to include going to a gym for an hour, 45 minutes. But definitely does mean that you need to move your body, whether you're going for a walk, whether you're doing some stretches, whether you're doing yoga, no matter how much time you have, right? Whether you're doing proper exercising, it means doing something that every single day, right? Which takes care of your physical body. Self-care can look like relaxing, right? Taking out the time to relax, to take some rest in the afternoon, maybe a short afternoon nap if you need to. Like for example, I'm very particular, usually, whenever I can, and I try and do it at least 90% of the times, a Sunday siesta is very important for me. Like I typically, at least on a Sunday, will take an afternoon nap, right? Even if obviously I'm working the rest of the week, but that's something that is important. So making sure that you're getting proper rest, which can also include nap or even sleep at night, right? If I've been feeling tired this week a bit, there's been a lot of work, then I'll make sure that I'm definitely in bed on time. Like in fact, day before yesterday, I was in bed by 9:30, right? Then you can also relax by listening to music or some enjoyable activity. Who said that you can't play when you've become an adult, right? Play is an integral part of our life. Of course, we learn a lot when we are children through play, but it's the same for an adult, right? We forget that. So it makes us feel more energetic, it makes us feel more alive. So whether you're playing with your child, whether you're playing with a Lego or anything that you like, or whether it's coloring, painting, some kind of play, some kind of hobby, an activity that you that you do just because you enjoy it is extremely important, right? So, and that's not an indulgence, it's a necessity. Once again, that forms a big part of self-care. And again, hobby can come in that same particular category. The other thing will be to connect with others, right? To connect not only, of course, with your family members, but sometimes you need space to connect with your friends, and maybe just to be by yourself, to connect with yourself, right? We need space to be by ourselves, to reflect on where we are, who we are, and who we want to be, right? We never stop changing, we never stop evolving. And we need some space to think, we need space to reflect, which is very difficult to do in today's fast-paced modern world. So you need to carve out that time, and that's also a form of self-care. So as I mentioned, it's a quiet time for some kind of self-care, and of course any other self-care practices, whether it's eating mindfully, paying attention to the food you're eating. If you like cooking, maybe it's the cooking that you do. So anything and everything, and of course it can also include getting a massage done, going to the spa, etc. So like all of these can constitute self-care, right? So give yourself permission, and I want to give you permission to figure out what works for you, right? What does self-care mean for you? And you are worth the investment that you need to do in order to take care of yourself, so that you can, and it has to be in a way that is deeply and intentionally, that you're taking care of yourself, so that you can make choices without any guilt or obligations, right? A lot of times when we are been taking on a lot of responsibilities as primary caregivers, as women, we naturally tend to nurture our loved ones, our family, etc. That comes very naturally to us. We become resentful of giving, right? And we don't know why. But a lot of times what it means is a lack of giving, but to yourself. And I see this all the time. And then it starts affecting your health over a long period. It can start affecting your health over a long period of time, right? Initially, it can be some niggling symptoms, but down the road somewhere, it can lead to other health issues. So in order to prevent that in the long run, this self-care again becomes a necessity, right? So it's not selfish, it is not time consuming, and it's definitely not a luxury. Instead, it is a necessity. So if you like what I had to say today, make sure that you sign up for this free 7-day self-care challenge that I have coming up from the 22nd of February. This will be via email at 6 a.m. in the morning, giving you one actionable step that you can take in the day for just 7 days, and you will see the difference, just by focusing on that one step per day. And of course, there are 2 free prizes for the most engaged participants in this challenge. I've been doing these different set of challenges. I've done the gratitude challenge, the positive changes challenge, and now we have the self-care challenge. And this has been extremely popular. I do hope you sign up for the same. So I hope that you got some idea about what self-care is and is not about. And I would love to hear in the comment section below, what is your number one go-to for as far as your self-care practice is concerned.